High above Earth, something strange may be orbiting us. A dark, unknown object that scientists have struggled to explain. Some call it a piece of space junk. Others believe it's a 13,000-year-old alien satellite, silently watching our planet. This is the story of the Black Knight satellite. It's a story that has captivated people for decades, a puzzle floating in the cold, dark emptiness of space. Is it possible that we are not alone? Could there be an object watching us, circling our planet without our permission or understanding? The question lies at the heart of one of the most enduring mysteries of the modern age. The story begins not with a clear picture but with whispers and strange occurrences. It's built from pieces of information that, when put together, paint a very mysterious picture. For over a century, strange signals and sightings have been reported. These were not just random lights in the sky seen by a few people. They were documented by scientists, astronomers, and even military organizations. The object itself has been given a name that sounds like it came from a legend: the Black Knight, silently observing the course of human history from its lonely perch in the stars. The first clues in the Black Knight puzzle did not come from a telescope. They came through our radios. Back in the 1920s, scientists were experimenting with radio waves. They sent shortwave signals into the sky and listened for them to bounce back off the ionosphere, a layer high in our atmosphere. But sometimes, they heard something strange. They heard echoes of their own signals returning to them seconds later than they should have. These were called long-delayed echoes, or LDEs. The delay was too long to be explained by a simple bounce off the atmosphere. It was as if something was catching the signal and sending it back to them after a pause. These strange radio echoes puzzled the greatest scientific minds of the time. Some scientists proposed theories about strange plasma clouds in space signals traveling all the way to the moon and back. But one of the most exciting ideas was that the signals were being intercepted by an alien probe. Could there be a non-human device in orbit around Earth, listening to our first attempts to communicate with radio waves? This idea planted the first seed of the Black Knight legend. It suggested we might have an unknown neighbor in space. Then in the 1950s, the mystery deepened. This time the evidence was visual. Humanity had not yet launched its first satellite. The sky was supposed to be empty of man-made objects. Yet astronomers and the US Air Force started reporting strange, unidentified objects in orbit. A famous astronomer named Clyde Tombaugh, the man who discovered Pluto, reported seeing strange lights in the sky that he could not explain. By this time, the United States had successfully launched their own satellites. The Soviet Union had successfully launched their own satellites. The space race was just beginning. The US Navy was using a powerful radar system called the Dark Fence, extremely sensitive. One day the operators detected something that shocked them. They found an object in a near-polar orbit. Neither the US nor the Soviets had publicly claimed it. It was a complete and utter mystery. First, a polar orbit, very difficult in 1960. In 1960, neither nation had the rocket technology to easily place a satellite into such an orbit. Second, estimated very large and dark, hard to track. The news of this strange discovery quickly leaked to the press, and the story of a dark satellite, an unknown watcher in the sky, spread like wildfire across the country and the world. The official explanation that emerged later was that this mystery object detected by the Navy was likely just the lost piece of the Discoverer satellite. But for many others, this official explanation was not enough. It felt too convenient, too simple. They believed the lost capsule story was a cover-up. The 1960 incident became a cornerstone of the Black Knight legend. For many years, the Black Knight remained a story told through old reports' radar blips. There was no clear visual evidence to support the fantastic claims. That all changed in December 1998, during a mission of the Space Shuttle Endeavour. The mission, known as STS-88, was the very first mission to begin construction of the International Space Station. During one of their spacewalks, the astronauts took many photographs of the work they were doing of the space around them. When these photos were released to the public on NASA's website, people discovered something extraordinary among them. There, floating against the blackness of space, was a strange, dark, and complex object. The object in the photos looked nothing like a natural meteor or a simple piece of space junk. It had a distinct, almost manufactured shape. It was dark and angular, with some parts that seemed to shine in the sunlight. To believers in the Black Knight theory, this was the smoking gun. This was the proof they had been waiting for decades. The photographs were real, taken by NASA astronauts on an official mission. The object looked alien, ancient, and exactly like what they imagined the Black Knight satellite would look like. The images spread rapidly across the internet, which was still a new and exciting place for sharing information like this. Of course, NASA was quickly flooded with questions about the strange object in their photograph. What was it? Was it an alien satellite? Had they finally captured an image of the legendary Black Knight? NASA responded with a very straightforward and simple explanation. They stated that the object was nothing more than a thermal blanket. They explained that during the spacewalk, a thermal blanket had accidentally come loose from the shuttle, the station module, and had drifted away. The astronauts photographed it as it floated away, just one of many pieces of debris that can be created during complex construction work in space. This explanation, much like the one from 1960, was seen as perfectly reasonable by some, and as a complete cover-up by others. The Black Knight satellite mystery is so powerful because it can be interpreted in many different ways. There are three main theories that try to explain it. The first and most exciting theory, an extraterrestrial probe believed to be thousands of years old, some say perhaps 13,000 years old. The second theory is more down to Earth. Space debris, space junk, millions of pieces of debris orbit Earth, leftover parts from rocket launches, dead satellites, fragments from collisions, all evidence explained as misidentification of our trash. The Black Knight is not a single object, a myth born by connecting unrelated events. The Black Knight is a ghost made from our own space-age garbage. We have journeyed through the long and winding history of the Black Knight satellite. We have heard the faint, delayed echoes of old radio signals from a time before the space age. We have seen the reports from respected astronomers and powerful military radars. We have looked at the famous, controversial photograph of a dark shape floating freely in space. On one hand, the logical scientific explanation is that the Black Knight is nothing more than a series of mistakes and misidentifications. It is a collection of unrelated incidents involving atmospheric effects, lost satellite parts, ordinary space junk, all tied together by a compelling but fictional story. On the other hand, there is the tantalizing possibility that the story is true. To believe this is to accept that there could be forces and intelligences in the universe far beyond our own. It means considering that the official explanations might be incomplete, or that they might even be deliberate cover-ups. The persistence of the legend, the sheer number of strange reports from credible sources over so many years. So what is the truth? Is the Black Knight satellite a real ancient alien artifact? Or is it simply a modern myth, a ghost story born from space junk and our own powerful imagination? Now you have seen the story and the evidence. You must look at the shadows and the whispers from the void and decide for yourself, what do you believe is floating up there in the dark?